everything's really grown since the end of July. The warm weather and the rain outside has brought things on quite considerably, and inside the polytunnel things are moving ahead. The tomatoes, let's get down to the tomatoes, are finally beginning to ripen. Seemed to take such a long time this year considering how warm we've had it. There's some more over here that are beginning to ripen. There we go. The calendula is still in full bloom. I'm finally beginning to get some tiny aubergines. Honestly, I haven't seen aubergines so thin and tiny. It must be the variety. Someone gave me the plants and I can't remember, nor could they, what sort it was, but it's obviously going to be a very dainty sort, judging by the shape and size. I've been picking lots of basil. I've made 2 or 3 batches of pesto so far, and popped it into my freezer, so they're doing incredibly well. Finally, the Greek gigantes beans that I was worried were never setting any bean pods are starting to set quite a few. There's some great big ones on the other side that have got seeds in now, and that's what you harvest them for. You're not actually growing them for the green pods as such, but they are beginning to come on. The cucumbers are rampant. In fact, here are some that I picked the other day. I think I'm going to have to do something with them. I've already pickled some. Anything that's overgrown gets given to the chickens. They seem to like them. And there's more coming all the time. There's another one, a little baby one. The chilies are ripening really, really well. I think this is Ring of Fire. These are jalapenos. God, more cucumbers coming. I've pulled most of the broad beans out, but I've left a few plants so that I could save the seeds, and they're left on there now to dry and mature for next year. Right, the corn. We've been picking lots and lots of sweet corn. They're doing incredibly well here in the polytunnel. Just have a peep at that. That looks good. That might get picked for tonight's dinner, I think. They're quite plump, very happy. I've pulled quite a few things out and I'm replanting for autumn and winter. I've got another sowing of carrots that I put in a couple of weeks ago. They're coming up quite nicely. They're a carrot root fly resistant variety again. Here's the chickpeas that were given to me by Hugh. I'm still waiting for them to do something, but they have got some little blossoms on them. I've planted yet more carrots in this bed. I want to be self-sufficient for carrots this winter. I've got pak choy planted and purslane, which is a nice salady crop. Back to the Greek gigantes to show you some of the pods. Where are they hiding? There we go. Good example of what they should have been doing ages ago, but I suppose better late than never. And in the warmth of the polytunnel, they should have some time to mature. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. The coriander or cilantro is now going to seed, but that's good because you can use the seeds, and if they seed themselves in the polytunnel, I don't really mind. I've got some dill growing. I absolutely love it, and it's great in jars of pickles, and again in my spinach cheese pie, which I think it's like a major ingredient. If I don't have dill in it, it doesn't taste right to me. Right, some more leeks planted, baby leeks to winter over, and some dwarf French beans. Now these have got little tiny beans coming on them, so they're doing okay. I should get a good crop in before autumn, I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Parsley is doing well. Okay, and quickly, here are some of the shallots that I harvested. I have, I think I've pulled them all now. And the white onions that I pulled out, which are kind of drying. Right, and let's have a quick look at the veg garden outside. Right, it's a bit of a windy day, but it's not raining, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me. I've got a little patch, a little strip just down the side of the polytunnel, which I use to plant odds and ends, and some nasturtiums and celery. There's a few leeks, spare leeks. The butterflies and the bees have gone mad in this corner, although today it's a bit windy and you won't see too many. The leeks are growing really well. This particular batch I think are ready to harvest, but I'll take just what I need when I need them. To the right of them are the butternut squash, which were late to start, but I've got at least 2 dozen smallish ones now developing, and the plants have just gone crazy. They're growing all out of the raised bed. I have kind of nipped them in the buds so that oh, there's a big bumblebee going into the flower. Thank you very much. But there's lots of little baby ones, but I counted 23, and every day I look there seem to be new ones. I don't know if they'll all kind of ripen and be usable by the end of the summer, but we shall see, and we'll certainly have an update. Some more leeks where some potatoes were. I had to pull some potatoes early because they were getting blight. All the warm weather and then the rain, and the warm weather and the rain just seemed to bring it on. So I got a bit of a crop. The potatoes are fine, they're tiny, and they're certainly not as many as I would like, but at least we can use them. The beetroots are doing fantastically well. They're huge. I need to pull them and start using them. I've got some little strawberry plants I've transplanted, some red lettuce amongst the nasturtium. The carrots are doing quite well. I've been pulling them as I need them. I want one actually. Let's just have a look. Yeah, they're doing quite well. They're all kind of around that size. Some are a bit bigger. Where I had some more potatoes that I had to pull out, I've replaced them with little tiny Swiss chard seedlings, trying not to let any space go to waste, and thinking about autumn harvests and things that can winter over. Right, to my right are the borlottis, which are really poor this year. They took a long time to get going because we had a cold June. They seem to sort of improve, but they've only gone halfway up the pole, and they've given very, very few beans. Quite disappointed. I've had a few. We're just using the pods now because there's not going to be time for them to develop seeds, which is normally what I grow borlotti for. Never mind, that happens sometimes. Now, the blue Hubbard squash is getting huge. Here's my hand. Here's a blue Hubbard squash. I've got about 10 of those growing. They're doing incredibly well. The autumn sunflowers, autumn beauty sunflowers are growing well. I lost a couple in last week's windstorm, but still have quite a few. I've got some purple climbing French beans, which are doing better than the Borlotti, so we will have some beans. They're really pretty, and I've grown some sweet peas up the same trellis. Right, moving on to the outdoor sweet corn, which is doing really well, just a couple of weeks behind the sweet corn in the Polytunnel, and not quite as tall, but certainly has quite a lot of cobs of corn on it. So delighted with those. Underneath the netting, I've got kalettes and Brussels sprouts growing. Some broccoli, which is going to seed, which I need to pull out, and some beautiful, beautiful red cabbage, which I shall just lift the netting to show you. It is super attractive, most beautiful crop of cabbages I've ever had. Calabos is the variety. And here we've got some rhubarb, which was left by the previous owners. It's quite a nice, well-established bed. And some very early rhubarb, which I brought with me. We've got some raised beds, which have just been filled with some of the green waste compost. I'm deciding what to put into here. I think we've got some strawberries back there. We may put some brassicas in the short term, but maybe use them more for perennial vegetables later on. And my raspberry cage, made out of some blue water pipe and pond netting that we had, seems to be holding up to the blustery weather. So there you have it, a brief look at what's growing in the veg patch. The quick peep of the ducks in the background. Thank you very much for watching, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. See you next time.